Adolf Hitler's plan to dominate the world was a calculated mix of ideology, deception, and brute force. His strategy, fueled by ambition and hatred, brought devastation to millions and reshaped the course of history. How did he aim to conquer the earth? Let's break it down. Hitler's ultimate goal was the creation of a global Nazi empire, a 1,000-year Reich. His vision began with the unification of all German-speaking peoples under one rule. But this was only the first step of a much larger, more sinister plan. After becoming Chancellor in 1933, Hitler focused on transforming Germany into a military superpower. He violated the Treaty of Versailles by rearming the country, building up the Luftwaffe, and modernizing the army and navy. At the same time, his propaganda machine instilled nationalist pride, convincing Germans they were destined to dominate the world. Hitler's early conquests relied on manipulation and division. He signed strategic pacts, such as the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact with the Soviet Union, which split Poland between the two nations. He also used appeasement tactics, exploiting British and French reluctance to confront him. From annexing Austria in 1938 to claiming the Sudetenland and eventually occupying Czechoslovakia, Hitler expanded his reach without significant resistance. His divide and conquer strategy destabilized Europe and left his enemies unprepared for war. Hitler's military strategy, known as Blitzkrieg or Lightning War, overwhelmed his enemies with speed and coordination, combining tanks, air power, and mechanized infantry. This tactic crushed Poland, Denmark, Norway, and much of Western Europe in mere weeks. At the heart of Hitler's strategy was Lebensraum, the idea of creating living space for Germans by conquering Eastern Europe. He saw Slavic peoples as inferior and sought to colonize their lands, while exterminating or enslaving millions. The invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941, known as Operation Barbarossa, was a key step in this plan. But Hitler underestimated Soviet resilience. The brutal winter and fierce resistance turned his campaign into a costly quagmire, draining German resources. While Europe was Hitler's primary focus, he envisioned a world where Nazi Germany dominated every continent. He allied with Japan and Italy to expand Axis influence globally. Plans such as Operation Sea Lion aimed to invade Britain, while ambitions to strike into the Middle East sought access to oil and strategic power. Ultimately, Hitler's strategy failed because of overextension, poor resource management, and hubris. Opening multiple fronts against the Allies and the Soviet Union drained Germany's manpower and supplies. Meanwhile, the industrial and military might of the United States and the resilience of the Soviet Union turned the tide against him. Hitler's ambitions for global domination led to the deaths of over 70 million people, including the horrors of the Holocaust. His plans to conquer the earth were not just a military strategy, but a vision of racial supremacy, genocide, and oppression. Hitler's defeat in 1945 marked the collapse of his monstrous vision. Today, his story is a warning of what happens when hate and unchecked power drive the ambitions of a nation.